Oh yes, we're about to get started. People everywhere, across this world. Hit that like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Whatever site you're on, let us know. Are you on YouTube? Say, give me a YT. Are you on Twitch? Give me a TW. Are you on Facebook? Give me an FU. I'm just kidding. Will work just fine. Insta. Hello, Insta people. What's going on? Excellent, Steph. Hop on over to YouTube. Subscribe while you're there. Just saying. And I agree, I am the best Disney dad ever. Hands down. All right, we'll get started in just a minute. I got some good news for you guys. Okay. Hold on. Okay, work with me. Let's get in here. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. I feel like I'm stepping on Cliff's toes. He's got his 12-hour thing going on at Substack. If you guys want to hang out with him on the Substack and then join me later, it'll be here. You can watch it elsewhere. It'll be on Instagram. Maybe you could double fist it with your phone or something along those lines. Don't want to step on his toes because it's been a great effort that he's doing. Great show, and not just because I was just on it, along with my buddy Brian Caron. Brian Caron and I are both from Kentucky, and that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. That's it. Just put that in your pipe and smoke it. Now, let me say hi to the chat room first before I get into my newsage. There is a... I should probably put this in there. Hi, chat room. Hello. Let me know where you guys are. That would be lovely as well. Let's see. Tools, and I want a source doc. And then in that source docs, what do I want? I want the... it wouldn't be that. It would be the news. It'd be the thing with the thing. I'm looking for it. Something in here. I have so much stuff. It's crazy. The news block, would that be it? Sure. Let's see. News block. Okay. And then preview of that. And then properties. Visible and add. Oh, wait. Shit. Never mind. No, go away. That's not what I need. I don't need that. I need the edge thingy. Because I want to, well, screw it. I'll just do the regular news thing and we'll figure out way to do it later. But hit that like, share the show. Can I show you a couple of pieces of good news right out of the gate? I know a lot of people are stressed and worried and whatnot. Let's just start with this little chestnut right here. This is for you guys out here. Just a couple of news pieces right out of the gate. Doge goons revolt against Musk with wave of resignations. Somewhere in the order of, I think it was 21. How many? 20. Yeah, more than 20. So we don't know exactly the number. More than 20 Department of Government Efficiency staffers resigned Tuesday because they no longer agreed with how Elon Musk was running the operation. The group of 20, there it is, 21 staffers, said they refused to use their technical expertise to, quote, dismantle critical public services in a joint resignation letter obtained by the Associated Press. Now, this is not big balls in the incel Doge bags that we're all concerned about. These are people that were put in place or were operating inside the digital services stuff in the White House, and they all packed up. But still a good move, and these guys would be responsible for carrying it out, or, and so they basically just said, yeah, you try and run it yourself, dummy. And again, because the Doge bags don't take an oath to protect the country, and these folks do, their resignation takes basically a step, takes a major block out of the wall. It takes a gear out of the conveyor belt. So shit falls apart at that point of it. So there you go. Anyways, these guys walk. The other thing is, and this is pretty great. Wait, let me show you this one first. Yeah, here you go. Elon Musk just lost more than $100 billion as Tesla gave up its trillion-dollar company status amid a huge sell-off. The Europeans are not buying Teslas. Americans are not buying Teslas. The only audience he would have for these cars going forward, because they're not going to be fleet vehicles, is maggots in general. There are other options if you want an electric car. Almost every major brand has one now. You can also get a hybrid. It's a great idea. And the irony that the only thing that would keep the infrastructure of electric charging stations afloat is maggots' love for Elon Musk is particularly hilarious. So I just want to, the Lucid, those are cool. And there's a myriad of them. So yeah, this is pretty hilarious. So he lost $100 billion, and that's a good thing. So and again, this is just the beginning of it. Also, I would like to remind everybody that the Tesla is where most of Elon Musk's money actually is. So he doesn't have a shit ton of money because of SpaceX, or certainly not because of shitter. And or even Starlink is not this kind of profitable. It's a regular kind of a business. As a matter of fact, there's an idea that Kuiper, the Amazon, will be more profitable because Amazon is so profitable that it has more cushion to wedge itself into the profitability balloon. And so just letting you know, just throwing that out there. So cool. $100 billion gone. Why? Because he's an asshole. That's right. That's people voting with their dollars because their vote as a person was taken away. So excellent. All right. Next, on top of that, Bitcoin took a giant shit. If you'll recall, right after the election, and certainly right after the swearing in, there was this idea that, oh man, Trump has signed this executive order that there's just going to be like Bitcoin. We're going to store Bitcoin in a box under the bed, whatever. And Don Jr., who's persona non grata, he's off just killing, I guess, nearly endangered species in Italy. This was going to be his baby. That Bitcoin itself, I don't trust Bitcoin. Am I missing something huge? No, you are not. Bitcoin's bullshit. It's the blockchain, which is a way of sort of managing ownership digitally using 3 different sources that are harder to hack than, say, somebody faking your name on a document and filing it at at City Hall, and then you find out too late that somebody bought your house out from under you by faking ownership. That's awful when that happens, and the blockchain would make that more difficult. Bitcoin and all these other things are just points on the blockchain that they use as holders of value, but they don't actually hold them. So, and it is primarily the currency of slave traders, gun runners, and drug dealers. That's what it's for. It's for those people. And it's also for horrible Vladimir Putin types or, multi-millionaire Chinese oligarchs to steal money from their own country and hide it someplace, so that if there's ever an off with their head moment, that a French Revolution moment that they have to face, they can bug out and they'll have their money stored someplace. That's all it is. Is crypto just a generic term for all digital scams for currency? No. Crypto is a very specific element of alleged currencies. There are a bunch of different things that are, use cryptography to lock in ownership. NFTs would be another crypto element. Just dumb. All right. Anyways, the important thing is that it was, here, look at that little fucker. Look at that business. 88, shit. Wow. Went down 4% in 24 hours. Holy shit. I was just about to read you an article that it went from 105 to 90, 88,832 got in 24 hours. Down 3,000. So all these Bitcoin assholes lost that much in lost 4% of their investment in 24 hours. I mean, if you're playing with funny money, you don't really care, and you put that money in, and it's money you don't need back, I guess you can just watch it die. The Trump election Bitcoin bubble has turned into a major crash, with the price of the cryptocurrency falling heavily on economic fears. You mean that it's bullshit? The value of the world's biggest cryptocurrency slumped dramatically in panicked overnight trading and is now down around 6% over the last day. It's now more than that. This morning, Bitcoin was trading at just below 90,000, its lowest level since November, having peaked around 105,000 at the time of Trump's inauguration last month. Oh, yeah, hate to see it. That's right, Moon Girl. It breaks your little heart, doesn't it? Breaks your little crypto heart. Other cryptocurrencies fell even more, with Ethereum, the second largest digital currency, down 10% over the last 24 hours. Dogecoin, the currency most closely linked to Trump advisor Elon Musk, was also down around 10%. And this, let me tell you something. They were all counting on Trump coming in and boom, right? He was just knowing that Trump was in charge and he's crypto friendly and he's got a crypto czar now and he's going to be all crypto. He's going to go easy on all that shit. He's going to go easy on them, and the regulations and all that kind of shit, right? So we're just safe, man. We don't even it's going to be awesome. Based on fucking nothing. So the total market capitalization of all crypto, all the different ones has fallen 8% from 331 trillion to 309 trillion. That's a lot of billions. The huge sell-off raised fears over a new crypto winter to match the long slump in 22 to 23 when Bitcoin was trading a little more than $20,000. Now, if you bought in at that point, you're obviously, and you bail right now, you'll make a bunch of money. But if you bought in thinking Trump's your man, you're losing right now. Super good. This is fun. Nearly $1 billion worth of positions were liquidated in 24 hours, according to CoinGlass data. Among them, 277 million long positions on Bitcoin, pointing to a market caught off guard by the suddenness of the movement. Long positions means these are people who intend on, holding that Bitcoin. They think it's going to the moon, like Doge, right? That's the idea. Bitcoin could drop to 86K amid sluggish demand. Shall we? Can we check into this? I don't give a shit about these guys, but can we enjoy their woes for a minute?
The chart of the day is presented by Crypto.com, the leading crypto platform trusted by over 100 million users worldwide.
Let's take a look at the chart of the day.
The guy, you could spot those guys. They're all covered in flop sweat, and they've all got. They were smart enough. If they were smart, they wore brown trousers to work.
Bitcoin has been trading in a narrow range around $96,000, but several.
Hey, get the hell out of here! I'm gonna sell me pants. You don't get to sell me pants in the middle of this. Skip ad. Hold on.
Risk of a deeper pullback to $86,000. This crypto quant chart shows inflows to spot Bitcoin ETFs have disappeared, replaced by regular net outflows over the past 2.
I love that phrase. Isn't that fun? Regular net outflows. That's yes. Sell! Turn those machines back on and sell! Right. Oh, sorry, I have to push the button.
2 weeks. BTC demand, network activity, and liquidity conditions remain sluggish. Further.
Huge.
Sluggish. Oh, hold on. Shut up, dummy. Why are you... get out of here. Huge. We'll get to you in a second, dum-dum.
Suggesting downside pressure on prices. The sentiment reset is nearly complete as BTC entered the final stretch of its weekly cycle, according to well-followed trader Bob Lucas. That's it for today's chart of the day. I'm Christine Lee.
Thank you for shitting blood right now. I have no doubt you're panicking. And I love that, by Friday, everything kind of dwindles and, we just kind of, they get over it. It's more of an emotional thing. Nobody actually knows what this shit is for, right? Yes, these numbers are skyrocketing downward. That's right. Let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot to swap that one out. So done. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Let me jump back. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, and this is kind of good. Okay, so Trump told he said America, Russia, and China should all agree instead of anti-proliferation, nuclear proliferation, instead of signing a treaty about it, we should all just cut back on our spending. We're overspending, aren't we all? We should all cut back on it. And Putin went, yeah, I agree. And I'll cut back as soon as you make Ukraine surrender. And China went, no, I'm not going to, no. How about no? How about no? China on Tuesday said that its defense spending was entirely necessary after Russian President Vladimir Putin backed a proposal by his U.S. counterpart. That's it's adorable. I don't know how else you can sort of describe their relationship except maybe it's the yeah, sock puppet. That'd be another one. But I'm glad they, look. Everybody needs affection. And in this process, like, the idea was that these guys will team up and this guy will have to fall in line. Nope. Russia has massively ramped up military spending since it launched its invasion. We know the spending in China has also increased significantly as regional tensions bubble and Beijing looks to assert dominance. Meaning, like, I don't fuck with the Philippines. Following his call with Putin earlier in February, Trump walked funny. No. Suggested that he would hold talks with Russia and China in an attempt to secure a mutual agreement on defense spending. Now, real quick, I know we got some maggots in the chat. Hi. Hello, maggots. Come here. I got a question about Epstein's buddy and his handler and his videographer. You guys don't actually think that's going to happen, do you? You don't actually think China, his suggestion was to cut our military budget in half. There's no reason for us to be spending almost $1 trillion on the military, and I'm going to say we spend this on other things. In a televised interview on Monday, Putin said that Trump's proposal of 50% cuts for the three countries was a good idea because he doesn't have any money for it anyways, adding that he could not speak for China. And China went, no. Chinese foreign minister said, although Beijing sees limited military spending as entirely necessary, it was also keen to find a path to peaceful cooperation, which is just politispeak. China has adhered faithfully to the path of peaceful development. No, it has not. Persevered in coordinated economic and defense development and does not engage in arms races with any country. Yeah, it just ignores everybody and keeps building. Dummy. So that's a big Trump lost. Trump's a big loser. Trump's little conversation. Putin's like, yeah, totally, brother, because I don't have any money left. And China's like, nah, we're good. We're going to keep spending a lot of money on it. So he's had his ass handed to him a couple of times. Bitcoin took a shit, along with his meme coin, which was a rug pull anyways. And then Musk lost $100 billion and a bunch of his Doge bags quit. Super fun. Okay, now let's get to our clips, if we may. Chat room, don't forget to hit that like, share the show. It's House Parks Megaworldwide, and I'm House Parks. I will be House Parksing the rest of the evening, and don't forget to mention the name House Parks to anyone who wants to hear the name House Parks, because House Parks is now stuck in your head. And maggots out there, Trump fans and stuff, I want to remind you that House Parks, House Parks, want you to know that no matter how much you hate what I say here, and because you know I'm not wrong, sometime next week, you'll be doing something. I don't know, eating tuna fish straight out of the can because you don't have a meaningful relationship or friends and nobody took you to lunch. And my name is just going to thrust forward in your head. You go, why can't I stop thinking Hal Sparks' name? What the hell? That the hell. This the hell. How about that? Yes, hashtag Doge. It's a heist. All right, so here we go. Trump is signing a bunch of shit, and We got really quality video from Fox Business. This is live-ish. How do I spell my name again?
All right, and that's a very big one that Howard just read, but they're both big. They're all big.
Everything's big. What I'm doing is big. If you believe in...
Atmospheric filth.
Yeah, they're all huge.
We're only doing big ones.
Yeah, because you can't pass a bill, I guess.
Okay.
Also, do you mean the shit you just took in your pants, you weirdo? Oh, and this freezes. Like I was like, did I pause it? It gets stuck like this. For like 30 seconds. Nice job, Fox. You're killing it. 45 seconds.
Thank you, sir.
There we go. Almost a minute. Great work there, Fox Business Channel.
Mr. President, is that the culmination of ongoing conversations that you've had with your counterparts this particular executive order?
Which one, last or?
The one that...
No, the digital tax is taking place all over Europe. They're taxing us, and they're doing other things. They're suing all our companies. And if that's going to happen, we want to be the ones that sue, not them.
Yeah. We're just gonna sue them for why? What reason? What are we suing them over? We're just gonna reciprocal suing now. I believe in reciprocal lawsuits. Yes, Hal Sparks, it is the greatest live stream ever. You're right, David McKenzie, and thank you for pointing that out.
And they use it almost as a form of running European countries, and the EU in particular has been very violent in its
They use it as a way of running the violent countries.
lawsuits against our companies, and frankly,
Yes, very violent lawsuits. When they serve the papers to our lawyers with flaming arrows. Zoot. Message for you, sir.
very violent and very bad to our
What? Very violent and bad?
airlines.
Very violent and bad to our airlines. Okay. Do these words have any meaning to you? Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize, guys. I should have warned you guys. That's my bad. Some people, if you're new here, I apologize. I should have. Because it's filth. I should have warned you that the nut was coming. So, whew. Consider yourself warned. Here we go. Sorry about that. I should have warned you beforehand. I will do a better job at that in the future. Okay, here we go.
Gotten calls from the heads of airlines saying they stop in Europe and they're getting charged all sorts of taxes that they never even heard of. They stop and they're getting fined and charged, and they do it only with American companies. They're not doing it to other countries. So we're stopping.
No, they're not. They're just, what is it, a dick tax now that you're in charge or something?
It. And we have another thing.
Thanks,
we have
Laney.
another step to go, and if they don't shape up, as an example, Apple has had to pay like $17 billion in a lawsuit that nobody thought was worth anything.
There was a tax dodge. They were dodging European taxes by pretending to have their headquarters in Ireland when Ireland and the UK were still part of Europe and the European Union in that regard. That's what that was from. We did the same thing in the United States. They were hiding taxes from the United States.
And I won't get into the judge.
Yeah, you don't even know the details of what the fucking lawsuit was, dummy.
Or the decision, or how the decision was arrived, but
Because I don't understand words and the organization of words and the concept of I just don't like-y.
I'm pretty good at this stuff, and
Yeah, well, then you should be able to sum it up for us. What happened?
I think it's disgraceful. And Google's being sued, Facebook's being sued, and many others are being sued by their so-called government, if you call it a government, EU.
I think they technically would be a government, yeah.
And they don't treat us right. They don't treat us right as a country. So we're going to protect our companies. We have to protect our companies. So we're not going to have any companies left anymore.
I thought we had everything we need, and we don't have to worry about Europe. We don't have to buy anything from them. We make it all here, right? We can Google all our own shit.
I also want to thank Apple, though, for announcing they're going to invest $500 billion in our country. That's the biggest investment anybody's probably made to this date.
It's exactly the same number as the OpenAI one you announced. The Project Stargate was it's the exact same amount. I know the difference. I'm sorry. So Apple actually has that money.
And they're going to do it very quickly. And that's
Whereas your Massa, the dude you had in there, he was full of shit. He doesn't actually have that money. Okay, gotcha.
because of tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs. And they feel very strongly about the country. Now, they wouldn't have done it without us. Without the Trump administration, they wouldn't have done it. But they feel very strongly about the direction of the country. The polls have shown that, too. The polls are coming out.
Nope.
Showing direction.
He likes the Harvard poll because that's the outlier. The rest of them are showing him and Musk both taking a giant shit. And by the way, we're not even anywhere near the find out part of this stuff. He's still fucking around. That's what today is. He's signing a bunch of fuck around. The find out part is happening, and people are starting to recognize that his fucking around is causing trouble. But none of the bigger damage has shown up yet. And he knows it's coming. That's why they're trying to sign all this stuff before everybody hates him.
The company
Too late.
Of the country is the best they've ever seen, actually. Best they've ever seen. So I just want to thank Tim Cook and Apple for the confidence. $500 billion. That's the biggest investment anyone has made in a short period of time.
Mr. President,
Yes.
have you spoken today with the House Republican holdouts who
Yeah.
said they would not be supporting the budget resolution?
Well, I'm not involved in that. They know what I want, and the Senate knows what I want, too. And the Senate.
Yes, and that's why both of them have completely different bills. That's why the Senate knows what you want and the House knows what you want, which is why the House has one big bill and the Senate has two bills. And the Senate bill adds money to the budget, and the House bill adds money and increases the debt ceiling $4 trillion and extends your tax cut, which the Senate would not approve of.
It's got a bill that's very strong, having to do with the taxes, because the taxes is what's bringing all these companies in. So, and without it, by the way, you'd have to double your own taxes. Everybody would be doubled up, and you'd have the biggest tax increase ever. So,
What? I think he means when it like his tax cut expires, it would double your taxes, which it wouldn't.
the House has a bill, and the Senate has a bill.
I think he's still talking about what he thought Harris would do to the tax code.
And I'm looking at them both, and I'll make decisions. But I don't know where they are in the vote. I know the Senate's doing very well, and the House is doing very well. But each one of them has things that I like.
Right. And you can only sign or pass one, dum-dum. That's the point. That's the whole fucking point of her question. They both have, you basically said they both know what you want. One is like, I'm not doing that shit. And the other one's like, I'm not doing that shit. What's the word I would look for? Leadership. That's the word I would use.
So we'll see if we can come together.
I doubt it.
Mr. President, can you clarify, hopefully once and for all, what your expectations are with this email to federal employees? What are you going to use that information for? And do you see it as voluntary, like OPM has said, or mandatory?
Yeah, well, it's somewhat voluntary, but it's also, if you don't answer, I guess you get fired. What
You guess?
it really is,
still lost on that.
what it is do people exist? We have this massive government with millions of people, and nobody knows who's working for the government, who's not. So what they're doing is they're sending out a letter to everybody, and they're saying, what were the things you did last week? I guess they ask for 5. And if people are working, it's easy. I could tell you 5 things I did last week. I could tell you 5 things I did 6 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, because people hand you papers to sign. You signed things, and then you went golfing. Cosmic Cat Lady, how is our society going to collapse? No.
If they're there,
He's going to collapse.
and they're working, they're able to say they did 5 things during work. And that means they're working and they're with us and they have no further obligation. If they're not, It could be there's no such person. It could be that the person's no longer working. They're no longer living at that address. They may be moved.
Oh, you mean the address where their email goes? To their mailbox? Where they get their emails? The address? They don't live at that IP address, I guess?
Maybe they moved to a different country, or maybe the person doesn't exist.
Sure, maybe. Maybe they just send you a photocopy of their ass.
And we then take that person off the payroll, and we save a lot of money by doing that. But that's one of the only ways. I think it's a very smart thing. And it says, if you don't answer, essentially, you know, there's a penalty to pay. Like, that's the end of the job.
Musk has said that. The order itself doesn't say that. I think that's part of the confusion. Is he speaking for you when he says you'll be terminated?
Yeah, everybody speaks for me.
Yeah, everybody speaks for me. I'm not doing any of the speaking. Whatever they say, I agree with.
The one, I'll take responsibility. You know the old statement, the buck stops here, right? Famous statement. Well, I can say the same thing, the buck stops here. No.
Really? Does it, though? Because it doesn't sound like it does.
We have to find out if people are getting paid and they're not working. And, you know, they have a problem. Let's say they have another job, and then they write in false statements. It's a big problem if they write.
What if they have another job and they write in what they actually did at their government job? Or what if they just sent back like a repeat of the 5 emails that they answered in the jobs they were handed going, what the fuck are you talking about? Here's my correspondence. Check in with my supervisor. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm busy doing an actual job.
False statements. They may be working for somebody else, but getting paid by the U.S. government. And that would mean that they're not allowed to be doing that. You know, they're not allowed to be working for us and be working for somebody else.
Yes, they are. Yeah, you can have a side hustle. There's nothing that says in your capacity as a federal worker, you can't have a second job. Fuck are you talking about? You goofy bastard.
We're paying them a lot of money. We're paying them. So we'll see. That solves that problem. Most people aren't willing to say that, you know, we're doing this, and this for the U.S. government, and yet they...
Well, I'm sorry. They don't want to say what?
Most people aren't willing to say that, you know, we're doing this, and this for the U.S. government, and yet they at another job, because that's a big problem for them if they do that. So in some cases, they're not writing back, and if they don't write back, they end up eventually losing their job. We give them extensions, but you know that was something we thought about a long time ago. We give them extensions, but we'll see.
We gave him extensions, but we'll see. No, you didn't. He gave him a Friday deadline. There was no extension. You just told him to knock it the fuck off. You know what the extension was? Hold on. Shit. This might be my favorite story of the week. Kash Patel Musk email. Patel tells FBI employees to pause any responses to Doge email. So I guess they get fired, or maybe they don't. We don't know. FBI Director Kash Patel told employees to hold off on responding to an email sent at tech billionaire Elon Musk's direction asking federal workers to list their accomplishments during the previous week. In a memo obtained by News Nation, Patel said the Bureau would handle future responses to the Office of Personnel Management inquiries. They'll do it themselves. Ask me. It's my fucking department. That's what he's basically saying. FBI personnel may have received an email from OPM requesting information, Patel wrote in his message. The FBI, through the Office of the Director, is in charge of all of our review processes and will conduct reviews in accordance with FBI procedures. When and if further information is required, we will coordinate the responses. For now, please pause any responses. So you know how I was saying that one of the upsides to the sheer number of egomaniacal asshats that are around Trump's orbit is that they all care about their legacy. Once he puts them in a position of power, they care more about their legacy than his. And he's going to have a hard time understanding that. Musk thinks he's in charge of all of it. Yeah. So I think that was one of the first official acts that Kash Patel did at the FBI was tell everybody to ignore Elon Musk.
We have to make sure, number one, that we have people, number two, that they're working, and number two, they're working for us, not for another company. Extensions, but, you know, that was something we thought about a long time ago. We give them extensions, but we'll see. We have to make sure, number one, that we have people, number two, that they're working, and number two, they're working for us, not for another company.
That's two twos. That's two number twos. Did you have to go poo poo? Is that how he tells? Like he's got a Diet Coke button, and if he says number two twice, they spirit him off to the shitter. Number one, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Number two, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Number two, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Is it true that President Zelensky is coming on Friday to meet with you, and is the mineral deal sorted out?
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly, it's okay with me if he'd like to, and he would like to sign it together with me, and I understand that's a big deal, very big deal. And I think the American people, even if you look at polling, they're very happy because, you know, Biden was throwing money around like it's cotton candy.
I mean, cotton candy costs money, so I'm sorry. Who throws cotton candy? Throwing it around like cotton candy. All right, sure. People, yeah, I don't know that people throw cotton candy. You dummy. What?
And
I'd love to catch some cotton candy. I'm feeling like cotton candy right now. I'm looking right at the desk where Elon Musk's kid rubbed a booger on it, and I had to have the desk cleaned afterwards because they removed the desk from the Oval Office, took it to be cleaned, and brought it back because I was so grossed out. And I'm fairly certain I can still see the spot where he wiped the booger.
it's a very big deal. Look, it could be $1 trillion deal. It could be whatever, but it's rare earths and other things.
No, it isn't. It's not rare earth. There's some mineral stuff in Jesus Christ. There's some like mineral stores in Ukraine, but they have shit like titanium and other stuff. They don't. And we have all the rare earth minerals we want, dummy. And you don't even know what they are. Again, rare earth minerals aren't rare. They're just sparse. They should be called sparse earth minerals.
And look, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine and Russia fighting.
Are we? I didn't realize. Oh, you consider yourself, I guess your salary is support for Russia. So that the U.S. taxpayer is paying for the Russian side of the war by paying your salary as president. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
A war that should have never, ever happened. That's a war that would have
What the hell happened to my screen? Hold on.
never happened if I were
It would have never happened, and I don't want to do the job that I got.
president. And it didn't happen for 4 years. People say, how do we know that it didn't happen for 4
They were always in the Donbass.
years? Would have never happened. And nevertheless,
Well, also, they would have captured it in 6 days because you would have let
this
it.
guy went into this situation and he spent money like nobody's ever seen, $350 billion. The other thing that we don't like is that Europe has spent $100 billion. We've spent $350 billion.
Yeah, but we spent it here.
Europe gets their money back because they spent it in the form of a loan, and we just gave them.
No, we didn't. We built shit here, and we backfilled the economy through military spending, which we have done before, and it mostly went to red states.
Whether it's 300 or 350 billion, nobody really knows. They can't even tell me the answer to that, but it means probably more than that. So what we're doing is
Or less.
now we're saying, look, we want to be secured. We want to get that money back. We're helping a country through a very, very big problem, a problem like very few people have had. Shouldn't have had
Like very few people have had, except, I guess, all of Europe.
this problem because it shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. So we have to straighten it out. But the American taxpayer now is going to get their money back plus.
Mr. President, yesterday with Emmanuel Macron, you said you had spoken to Putin about the idea of peacekeepers in Ukraine, that Putin was fine with it. The Kremlin, I guess, has said that that's actually unacceptable to them. What's real here?
That's not what I was told. But you're going to need some form of peacekeeping. So something will be done that's going to be satisfactory to everybody. We need peacekeeping too.
Yes, because I want to be a peace president, and peace must be kept, and who's going to keep the pieces, and where are my pieces?
Any situation where
It's
there's
actually,
American troops involved?
it's actually something I did discuss, but a form of
Well, okay, so you discussed it with them and they went, nah, fuck that.
peacekeeping that's acceptable to everybody. Ultimately, we'll be able to agree on something, I'm sure.
With Ukraine and this mineral deal, what does Ukraine get in return, Mr. President?
$350 billion and lots of equipment, and military equipment, and the right to fight on, and
Ah, there you go. The right to fight on. Hey, asshole, why would they sign a deal like that for money that's already spent? If they didn't have to, if you're just going to leave them fucking hanging, why sign the deal? And I bet you, this asshole doesn't even know, but I bet you there's something in the deal that they have to meet, the U.S. has to meet their peacekeeping responsibilities in this and do their, we have to do our due diligence to make sure that Russia doesn't continue to salami slice their way across Europe. And if they don't, the deal's out. Of course. Also, the whole point of this deal is that we're going to have U.S. companies developing this shit in conjunction with the Ukrainians, which means we're going to have American personnel and Americans, more than likely, military, protecting these areas wherever we're extracting these minerals or we're extracting these materials or the fucking corn we're getting from them or the wheat or whatever we end up getting from them. We're going to have people on the ground there. And if Russia attacks, our people will basically be acting as human shields. They're going to move there and stay. That's what the deal is. That's why he's saying there should be some peacekeeping, whatever. Okay, they got to be there to protect the industry, because American industry isn't going to go there and help extract this stuff if Russia's just going to fucking take their factory like it's Chernobyl.
Originally the right to fight. Look, Ukraine, I will say they're very brave and they're good soldiers, but without the United States and its money and its military equipment, this war would have been over in a very short period of time. In fact, I was the one that gave the javelins. You remember the famous javelins? That was
You held them back. The Congress gave them, assholes.
me. That wasn't Obama. It wasn't Biden. It wasn't anybody else. It was me. And they wiped out a lot of tanks with those javelins. And the expression was that Obama gave sheets and I gave the javelins. That was a big deal.
That was an expression. I still use it to this day, somebody's like, hey, man, you want fill it up with unleaded or... And I go, hey, Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. And they're like, right. Yeah, totally.
At the time, it wiped out. That was the beginning when people said, wow, that's something. Well, that was American equipment. Without American equipment, this war would have been over very quickly. And American money, too. I mean, a lot of money.
So
Mr. President.
That war-fighting equipment and the ammunition, that's sustained going forward for Ukraine, and how long is it sustained?
Well, it could go forward for a while, and maybe until we have a deal with Russia. Look, we need to have a deal with Russia, otherwise it's going to continue. But now when
Really? You think?
Americans put up their money, the taxpayer money, and the president approves it, we're getting our money back in some form. But it could go on for a while, or it could be settled quickly. I think it's going to be settled quickly.
I thought it was going to be settled in 24 hours after you won the election. Where did I hear that? Oh, right, from you.
I spoke with President Putin. I think he wants to settle it.
Really? You think so? Did he say, I want to settle it? Or you just got a vibe?
And once you get on with life, it's horrible.
That's what he is. He just wanted to put... I just want... Look, Donnie. I just want to put this all behind me, I just want to go back to falling downstairs and shitting my pants and fucking my doubles.
What's happening horrible? Thousands of soldiers a week are being killed, and others too, but especially on the battlefield.
Yes, I understand how a battlefield works. I think most people do.
Thousands a week are being killed, and we want that to end.
Mr. President,
So maybe, do you want it to end just for a little while so that Russia can regroup, so that they can do it again, so that even more people die?
Yeah, Brian?
Yes, okay.
He's always got Marjorie Taylor Greene's squeeze, and he calls him by name, and he always stands in the same place, and they basically give him tee-ups. So remember the dude who got fired from RSBN for fucking MTG. Okay, he's in the pack all the time now, and he literally, they assign him like, it's like in a volleyball game, the person who sets the person for the spike, that's the stories they give him. Just let you know, he's the new Chanel Rion.
Real quickly, Carolyn Levin, your press secretary, sent an earthquake through that briefing room earlier today announcing that the WHCA would not have any control over placing media in the seats in the briefing room. Just want to get your thoughts on that. And also on Air Force One.
White House Correspondents Association?
It's trending on X. People are talking about it. Get your thoughts.
Well, we're going to be now calling those shots. As you know, we won that lawsuit right there. See, the Gulf of America, which is a beautiful name. Most people agree. I don't know. It's, you know, AP has been terrible. Look, I think they're radical.
He still has that fucking easel up? They just left that in there? Is it so he can look at it every day? Get a fucking frame, you weirdo.
The left, I think they're third-rate reporters. I know the specific young lady that works on the account is terrible. She's a
lady?
A radical left lunatic, as far as I'm concerned. They don't.
Yeah, but yeah, you say that about a bunch of people. You say that about fucking rhinos that you don't like. So why should anyone give a fuck?
Don't treat us fairly. That's number one. And number two, they had no right to do that. This is the Gulf of America. And if you look at that shoreline, look at that shoreline. Look, from Florida, well, most of it is, it's called America.
Is it? Most of it is called America? Cool. It's all called North America. Why don't you call it the Gulf of North America? So it would be included. No, I guess not. Look at the. You know, look right there. And if you. Down at the end. Also, why is there a giant hole in Florida? Of all things. Woo! Hold on. Wait, I want to see him do the whoosh again.
Well, most of it is, it's called America. And vast majority, like big numbers. So I'm just admiring it as I look at it. My mind is adrift. I'm getting teary-eyed, but I don't want you to say Trump broke down and started crying. No, how beautiful is that? Look at the shoreline. Look at that.
Well,
That's America.
Can I shift our attention to Canada real quick?
Yes, please.
Last week, I spent some time with two government officials for Canada.
Yeah.
I was asking them how realistic is it that Canada would be the 51st state?
Yeah.
And they told me there is a path. Alberta is first, and if they sign on, Saskatchewan would follow, and then you go west to British Columbia. There is a movement in Canada to
No, there is not.
join us. Want to get your thoughts on that and how that's.
Hey, man, 3 new states. And by the way, that's what he said. So fuck the 51st state thing. 51st, 2nd, and 3rd. Now, those are 3 states that, for all of his beliefs about that they would love to be part of America, are very used to having national health care. So what do you think happens when those 3 states exist, you know, in the country? Do you think they're going to have Republicans that are going to fight against national health care or elimination of it? Do you think that's going to happen? Or do you think they're going to have Democratic senators? What do you think?
So it's true. Thank you, Brian. It's true. A lot of people in Canada are liking becoming our beautiful, cherished 51st state.
2nd and 3rd. Again, he was just telling you there's provinces.
They'll have to pay much lower taxes. They'll have the ultimate security. You know, they don't pay very much for security right now because they rely on us.
Yeah, but if they get invaded and taken over, then we're fucked. So why wouldn't we?
Which is really unfair to us.
Why is it unfair to us? We give a shit. For real.
They make cars that we could make, and they send them back into the United States. They make
Poutine?
a lot of things, including the sending of oil and everything. We don't need their oil.
Yeah, well, then why do you want the Keystone XL pipeline back online? I agree. Fuck it. Fuck the Keystone XL pipeline. That's Canadian fucking fracking shale oil. No.
We don't need their lumber. In fact, we're going to be freeing up, and I've asked Howard Lutnick to get that done with Lee, and everybody, Lee Zeldin,
Yeah, cut down those redwoods. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all.
environmental. We're freeing up our forests. We're going to be able to take down trees. Right now, we're so restricted environmentally. We're going to be freeing it up with an emergency order. We have an emergency.
Yeah, go for it. Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, fuck you and your stupid trees. You won't be able to take them from California because even though it's national land, they're managed by California, so they'll fight back against it and have an injunction. But look, Wyoming wants to help. They're like, fuck it, we got way too many. We would rather have farmland instead of all these dumb trees.
The order, and we're going to be freeing up our forests. We have more forests than almost anybody.
Nah, no, we don't. No. No, Brazil would like a word, I guess. And so would Canada. No, we don't.
And great lumber, great trees. We don't need anybody's trees. We don't need trees from Canada or anybody
Yeah, fuck trees. We'll cut down all of our trees. We don't even need trees. Who needs trees? They block the view of the buildings.
else. In fact, we have to put the slits, as they call them, the area, 50, 60-yard area in between areas of trees. It stops the fires. And frankly, California should have been doing that for years.
The slits, we're the Slits Malt Liquor Anti-Fire Brigade. We're going to be cutting slits in our forests, are we?
It's almost getting late. They're going to run out of forests the way they're going. What
Oddly, no.
a shame. And by the way, the water is flowing in California. I hope you people have seen it. But
Yes, it's flooding farmland during a time when they don't need it.
the water is flowing. Do you have a picture of that? I'd hold it up. Do you have a picture?
Yeah, hold up a picture of the water flowing. A picture of the water flowing. You got a still picture of the water flowing, don't you?
Get a picture of it, please. We had a little skirmish in California. I can't believe we had to do that, but we opened up the water in California. The water was flowing into a place called the
There was no skirmish.
Pacific Ocean, which for the Pacific Ocean is only a drop, but for us, it's more water than we can use in California. So I'll get you some photographs, but it's a beautiful sight. The water is flowing in California, beautiful water from the Pacific Northwest and beyond, and it flows down, and instead of being routed out to the Pacific Ocean, and this has been going on for 20 years more in order to take care of a certain species of fish, which wasn't doing very well without water, I can tell you.
Yes, it's the smelt. It's the trans smelt, left-wing Marxist radical smelt that is stealing from the beloved giant agribusiness in Central California.
So that's a big deal. It's like not reported. It's incredible. But California has a lot of water. That's going to take care of farmers. It's going to wet.
Yeah, it's going to flood all of their farmland, and they can grow rice.
Up the land, and it's going to go all the way down to Los Angeles, where
No, it is not.
they have curfews on water, where they have all sorts of.
We do not have curfews on water. I don't know what a water curfew is. So we can't use water after 10 o'clock at night, especially on the street.
Blocks on water. You can only use so much. We're going to put until just recently, they were going to put a number of gallons per person living in a house in Beverly Hills on water. You're not going to have that problem anymore. Do you have a picture? Let me just see what that looks like. How beautiful is that? Look at that beautiful water flowing. Look at that. That's coming in the dikes and other means of transportation. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, I think of a dike as a means of transportation.
Who would believe that? It's all water they could have had. I went to the governor during my first term and I said, why don't you do this?
And he's like, that's Central California. That's a few hundred miles from where this is.
And they said environmental. They have
No, they didn't say environmental.
an environmental problem with clean water. If this water were there, you wouldn't have had those fires.
No, Compton would be underwater. You would have hundreds of people drowned, if not thousands.
You had sprinklers. They make people put sprinklers in the ceiling of a home, and they had no water in them.
No. You just sprinklers are not going to stop 100-mile-an-hour wind forest fire taking a house. It's just not going to. Coming from the outside, especially, you do realize that sprinklers in a ceiling aren't going to do shit for the outside catching. Holy fuck!
With this, they would have had a lot of water in them. They would have all been full. That would have had you would have had a whole different deal down there. You probably wouldn't have had a fire, but if it was, it would have been small. Would have been put out. You had the fire hydrants not working in California. So it's a beautiful site. These are canals that were built. These were all built.
Yeah, they exist. They've existed for a long time. They allocate water out of them for the farmland, and now they've let that water go before they need it. And when it gets hot, it will evaporate.
And you saw them for years. They were empty.
No, they're not empty all year long. They're filled up when there's a drought. When the water table gets low, they flood that in there, and then it fills the... Oh, fuck me.
Concrete. They call them the V-shapes or the half pipes.
Yeah, they call them the V-shapes. That's what I call them. I call them the V-shapes. I mean, sometimes I'll say half pipes, but only when I'm skateboarding.
And they're shaped different forms, but they're
Yeah, some of them are V-shaped. Others are not.
shaped, and they rush down through the farm areas where the farmers can take it, and down to Los Angeles.
No, they don't.
And they were sitting empty for years. And now look at that way it looked. It wasn't easy. We had to be very unfriendly to get into those areas. We opened it up.
Mr. President,
I essentially attacked California. Can you believe it? I attacked California.
I attacked California. Yes, you did, booby. There you go. Hold on. Holy shit. California. Whoops. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this would be the February 3rd. There you go. Trump ordered that for, let's see if we can, yeah, there you go. Isn't that beautiful? That's just gorgeous. Look at that. It's just like, it's like prehistoric times. It's just Trump says he opened California's water. Local official says he nearly flooded them. The Army Corps of Engineers moved to release massive quantities of water in Central California, panicking local officials. Trump declared victory on Friday of his long-running war with California, boasting he sent billions of gallons south, but the local officials said they narrowly prevented him from possibly flooding farms. Today, 1.6 billion, and in 3 days, it will be 5.2 billion gallons. Everybody should be happy with this long-fought victory. I only wish they listened to me 6 years ago. There would have been no fire. Local officials had to talk the Army Corps of Engineers down after it abruptly alerted them Thursday it was about to increase the flows from 2 reservoirs to maximum capacity, a move the agency said was in response to Trump directing the federal government to maximize water supplies. Before the Corps ratcheted down its plan, local authorities scrambled to move equipment and warn farms about possible flooding, said Victor Hernandez, who oversees water management on one of the rivers, the Kaweah in Tulare County. He said the Corps gave him 1 hour notice on Thursday. I've been here 25 years. I've never seen notice that quick. We talked about this when it actually happened. Channel capacity is very dangerous. People don't understand that with channel capacity, you're going to have flood damage down below. It's so stupid. There's a lot of today's another President talking about the future of environmentally threatened San Francisco Bay Delta. They met at the White House to discuss fire relief and other water issues. Recent signs of the emerging alignment. Newsom wants to build a massive Delta tunnel, a mind-bogglingly 36-foot in diameter, to pump more water south from Sacramento River. Trump wants to eliminate all Bay Delta environmental protections that limit water diversions. Put these two ideas together, the biggest water tunnel in the world, and no environmental protections. The result would be economic, ecological, and human disaster. That's this right here. If they want to take the Delta, as people fish in the Sacramento San Joaquin River, River Delta's Elk Slough, near Cortland, California. He's supporting a Delta tunnel to pump more water south from Sacramento River. So they want to basically use that, basically put a sewer drain that direction. Trump wants to make that happen faster than they can actually do an environmental study. And so putting those two things together, the argument there is that you'll basically just collapse the ground in an earthquake area.
Let's go.
At the outset of your administration, sir, you committed to ending the weaponization of government, to holding those accountable who participated in the weaponization.
Yeah. I didn't realize RFK Jr. was just standing there like a dickhead. Shouldn't he be someplace giving someone measles to save them from cancer?
Of government.
Hold it. This is a good one. Is everybody listening? Deranged Jack Smith. We're going to call it the Deranged Jack Smith signing or bill. Go ahead.
It's not a bill, it's an executive order.
One law firm that provided pro bono legal services to the special counsel's office under Jack Smith's leadership was Covington and Burling. As a result of those actions, we're now going to be suspending and putting under review the security clearances for the attorneys and employees at that firm who worked with Jack Smith's team.
So that maggots can kill them? How is this going to do anything? How, honest to God. What the fuck does this have to do with anything? Also, I'm fairly certain it ends naturally at the end. This is like Musk taking credit for shit, contracts that ended last year.
We're going to continue holding the people who were responsible for the weaponization of government and who supported it accountable for what they did.
And you.
Sorry, the way you're holding them accountable is hoping someone shoots them for you? What? Who? Honest to God, who gives a fuck? Like, how is this doing anything about it other than endangering their lives and bragging about it? It's a waste of time. This is a farce. This will not. Most of the time, people end up their security detail was temporary during the period of time, anyways. Those folks are going to have to probably move or protect themselves. That's terrible. But at the same time, this isn't going to change materially the facts of the case or put it in a position where you could try them for doing something illegal, which they didn't do.
You're doing this with other firms as time goes by, right?
We're looking at sort of the whole panoply of options.
The weaponization of our system by law firms, even pro bono work they're doing just in order to clog up government, stop government. And nobody knows about it more than me. And hopefully that'll never happen again.
Well, I guess so. You're telling Pam Bondi and Kash Patel to leave people the fuck alone if you just because you don't like them. I'm kidding. Of course you're going to weaponize the government against them. What the fuck do you think Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Bungholio are there for?
Covington and Burlington?
Covington and Burlington.
Mr. President.
Why would this be? I got it. Look. Why would this be a big thing? Why would he need to sign this in public and make it a big deal that he's going to remove their security detail? It's absurd. It's a waste of fucking time.
May I ask you a question about Europe?
Unless he just wants people to know he's gross and can't sign his name anymore. What the fuck is going on?
Long-term, do you plan to maintain the number of...
How long is Trump doesn't have that many fucking letters in it. And also, that's a pretty big P. The P is bigger than the other letters. Trump.
Wait, I just want to savor this one, please. Who would like this pen? Hey, why don't you send it to Jack Smith? A deranged person.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who worry that targeting an individual firm or individuals who aren't Jack Smith for his actions?
I've been targeted for 4 years, longer than that. So you don't tell me about targeting. I was the target of corrupt politicians for 4 years, and then 4 years after that. So don't talk to me about targeting. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, there are...
Well, you've had federal Secret Service protection that entire time. The targeting he's talking about is they might get killed. And again, if you want to fall back to, well, I survived 2 assassination attempts, one that never actually happened, both of those guys were on your team.
Approximately 2 million federal employees right now. By the end of your term, what do you expect that number to be? What would you like that number to be?
Well, it'll be lower, but I can't tell you. Everybody knows I ran on downsizing government, but making
No, he didn't.
government better. I ran on tariffs and making our country rich, and that's what's going to do. We're going to be doing something else.
if tariffs are going to make the country rich, why don't you have any right now? Why have you put them all on pause?
Also, it's going to be very, very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending.
We're now Cyprus now? We're going to sell citizenship to billionaires? Here's a real quick one. Do they have to get rid of their other citizenship, or are they're allowed to be dual citizens of Saudi Arabia or Iran?
Spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people. And we think it's going to be extremely successful.
What if they don't? What if they don't employ a lot of people and pay a lot of taxes? Do you take back their gold card?
Successful. Never been done before, anything like this, but it's something that.
Yes, it has. Cyprus does this. The dude who used to run that organization that Trump would often talk about.
Burmese.
Right, that's right. The
Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
Yeah, the Burmese guy bought Cyprian citizenship to bug out of Ukraine.
That we're going to be putting out over the next, would you say 2 weeks out? Do you want to say a couple of words about it?
Yeah, 2 weeks, somewhere in the next 2 weeks.
Mr. President, are there
Wait a
any
minute.
requirements for that gold
Hang on a
card?
second.
Do you have to invest a certain amount of money?
Yeah, Letnick, nobody gives a fuck, dummy. It's a sales pitch. Sounds illegal.
In this country in order to qualify for that gold card?
Also, why is there a big black Johnson in Lutnick's face? We need to frame this picture and send it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Go
the
ahead.
EB-5 program was really, you lend some money, but it was full of nonsense, make-believe, and fraud, and it was a way to get a green card that was low-priced. So the president said, rather than having this sort of ridiculous EB-5 program, we're going to end the EB-5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card, which is really a...
Oh my God, this is so fucking lame. Hold on. The Trump Gold Card. Program required a minimum investment of $1 million or $500,000 in a rural or targeted high unemployment area. That was the EB-5. That's how you got a visa from investing. Now, he's going to make it $5 billion.
Green card gold, so they'll be able to pay $5 million to the U.S. government. They'll have to go through vetting, of course. We're going to make sure they're wonderful, world-class global citizens. They can come to America.
Oh, so this is a globalism thing. This is a globalist kind of globalizing when your globalism situation is going to globalize.
The president can give them a green card.
Yes, a.k.a. Russians who are escaping. This is for Russian oligarchs, yeah, to buy property here. When as Russia collapses. And Chinese oligarchs, I would guess, too.
And they can invest in America, and we can use that money to reduce our deficit. Why do we give out lotteries of green cards? Why do we give out EB-5 for green cards? The President of the United States understands that the right answer is, why don't we eliminate the deficit of the United States of America instead?
Sorry, hold on. How many people are you going to bring into this fucking country at $5 million a pop and pay off a $36 trillion debt? What are you talking about? You'd have to bring in the entire Chinese population.
The gold card, well, millions.
This is so fucking chintzy.
But the gold card will bring in with it people that create jobs, very high.
Yeah, I know the Bin Laden family has a lot of people in construction, so, and they could probably afford it. Yeah.
High-level people. I think companies will pay to get people in. For instance, you today graduate from.
I agree. I mean, I think that probably the Wagner Group has got that much, fucking kicking around.
The Wharton School of Finance or Harvard or Stanford or any college, and nobody knows if you can even go to work for a company. So Apple and all these companies that want to get people to be working for them will be able to buy a card. And for the people that are number one in their class at top schools, I see that as one of the things. But generally speaking, it'll be people with money and people that create jobs. And they won't have to pay any tax on income outside of the United States, which they're not paying right now. They're not citizens. But they'll have to pay, if they create jobs in the United States, they'll pay full taxes like everybody else. So you're getting big taxpayers, big job producers, and we'll be able...
What? Sorry. So foreigners who went to school in the United States, Apple's going to pay $5 million to get them a visa to work at Apple so they can start a business later or during that. How long is this supposed to... I mean, this is dumb. I don't even know why I'm pretending to think this is a real thing. This is just something they spitballed and we're like, that sounds gross. Let's do that.
Sell maybe 1 million of these cards, maybe more than that.
No.
And if you add up the numbers, they're pretty good. As an example, 1 million cards would be worth $5 trillion. $5 trillion.
Wow.
And if you sell 10 million of the...
So it's basically, they're like your little grift coin. Yes, if a million magic people just come to the country and pay $5 million each to get this thing, it'll be $5 trillion.
Cards, that's a total of $50 trillion. Well, we have 35 trillion in debt. That'd be nice. So we'll see. But it could be great. Maybe it will be fantastic. We have it all worked out from the legal standpoint. It's totally legal to do. Hasn't been done before. It's been done in many different forms. We give them away. Why should we give them away? We shouldn't give them away.
No, we should sell them to rich people to buy their way to the front of the line because there aren't any rich oligarchs in countries all over the world that wouldn't buy their way into the country, have U.S. citizenship and all the protections, and then go back to the country they're from and use that as leverage. That'd never happen.
And I think it's something very exciting. I think it's potentially just something that we're all very excited about. So it's a gold card. It's somewhat like a green card, but at a higher level of sophistication. It's a road to citizenship for people.
Jesus Christ. It's like he's selling that stupid video phone from The Apprentice. It's the gold card. You want to get it right now. The Trump gold. It's obviously not real gold. It's spray painted like all my furniture. But all we need is 1 million people to come to the country and help us pay off our debt, and pay $5 million a piece to buy your way into the country.
People, and essentially people of wealth or people of great talent, where people of wealth pay for those people of talent to get in, meaning companies will pay for people to get in and to have long-term status in the country.
Yeah, but why would they want that? Because the H-1B visa, which Elon Musk likes and all that stuff, is how you get those workers in, the high-quality workers. And then when you're done with them, you can boot them out. Why would you want them? Musk doesn't want them to have citizenship. That's the whole point. You lord it over them so that if they decide to quit, they can't. They can only work the job that got them the visa.
And I think it's something we're very, very happy about. Would you have anything to say about that?
Well, many other countries, by the way, do this, including...
Not you, dum-dum. The guy over there, Lutnick. What? Who the fuck was he looking at? What, do you have something to say?
Would you have anything to say about that?
Well, many other countries, by the way, do this, including, of course, your 51st state does that.
And the money's earmarked for deficit reduction?
It may be earmarked for deficit, but it actually could be more money than that. I mean, if you did 10 million, you'd have $15 trillion left over. But generally, it's going to be paid down debt, yes.
Do you need Congress for this? Do you think you need them
No,
to
we
pass
don't
a
need
law?
Congress, no. Because we're not doing citizenship, we're doing the card.
I see.
It's a path to citizenship.
Yeah, that you would need. So it's a visa. It's a rich asshole visa. That's what he's doing. It's not citizenship. So it's not. You can't buy citizenship. It's an H-1B visa with fucking kiss my ass privileges. They're gonna, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna offer them or make them whatever standard they have to live to. And again, if companies can already bring in workers they want that are very high quality using the H-1B visa, and it doesn't cost anything. They just have to apply for it. So why the fuck would they pay $5 million for this bullshit? Look at Lutnick looking at him right now. It's not citizenship. So it's spitballing.
A very strong path to citizenship.
Yeah, very strong. How do you know? Well, because I said so.
But we're not doing the citizenship. For that, I'd have to get Congress.
And would all countries be eligible for this gold card?
Depends. The countries largely, the people will be vetted very carefully.
Mr. President, in Ukraine.
Yeah, once you're done counting the dollars, 4,909,999, 5 million. He checks out. Get him in there.
Would you provide military support for Ukraine in the future under a peace agreement?
Say it again louder.
Would you provide military support for Ukraine in the future as part
You mean
of
like
a peace
security?
agreement? Yeah.
Well, people are going to do it. I think Europe will largely be responsible
People will do it. We're not people.
for that. European countries will be responsible.
But Macron asked for a U.S. backup.
Well, we'll see. I mean, right now we're just in the process of negotiating. We've pretty much negotiated our deal on raw earth and various other.
Raw earth? Wait a minute. So we're getting dirt? Why didn't you say so? This deal gets better all the time.
We've pretty much negotiated our deal on raw earth and various other things.
Yes, not just dirt, but also dirt plus. Golden dirt. Dirt X. Raw earth. Fuck me.
We'll be looking at that security. You're talking about general security for Ukraine.
Yeah. You introduced him the other day. General Security. He's a tough-looking dude. Right out of Central Casting.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. There are a lot of people that want to do it. And I spoke with Russia about it. They didn't seem to have a problem with it. So I think they understand. They're not going back in. Once we do this, they're not going back in.
So on that gold.
Oh, sorry. Once we do this, Russia isn't going back in because we will have human meat shields from the United States there.
Aircraft.
But what if they try to steal our dirt?
Would the U.S. provide, for instance, air defense?
Well, I just told you, right now we're not providing anything. You know, it's about Europe, too. Europe put in $100 billion, and we put in $350 billion. It's not a fair thing. You know, we would normally say, and I say it now anyway, but we want equalization. They should put up actually more money than us because they're right there. We have an ocean in between. But we've had very good talks with Russia.
There isn't an ocean between America and democratic ideals. I would like to say for the record. That would be the kind of answer to this. It's not, we're not just doing this out of like violent self-interest. It's also the principle of the thing and innocent people being murdered like this. And again, there's a huge ocean between us and Israel, so why the fuck are we sending boats there to knock away Iranian missiles if you're using that argument? Because it's the only democracy in the area, that's why.
We've had very good talks with Ukraine, and we think it maybe will come to an end and we'll stop killing young people all over the battlefield and elsewhere.
On Europe?
Yes, just some young people being killed all over elsewhere.
So do you plan to maintain heavy military presence in Europe in the long term, like tens of thousands of troops?
We'll be involved. Yeah, we'll be involved in Europe. We're involved in Europe now. Europe is our friend. They take advantage of us on trade. We don't like that. What the EU does, we don't like that.
Also, what's with fucking Chucklehead here? Lutnick just, I think he got the job because he laughs at everything Trump says. I mean, I feel like he just laughed at the fact that Trump said they're our friend and they take advantage of us, and he's just like, what a doughhead. That's hilarious.
But we'll solve that.
Because I feel like Lutnick is laughing at him, but Trump thinks he's laughing with him.
The old-fashioned way. We'll give them the same reciprocal numbers. You know, we're talking about a reciprocal tax. You know that. And if they charge us, we charge them. Right now, they charge us much, much more than we charge them. And they have non-monetary taxes also and tariffs. and we're going to change that. It's
Non-monetary? What do you mean? Attitude from French waiters?
all changing. It's all changing. We're not going to be the people that we were. We had people in this office sitting right at this desk or another model of this desk, because as you know, the other desk is right now being refurbished.
Because Elon Musk's kid wiped a booger on it. Yeah, we know. I pointed it out.
Delaying his trip to the Middle East
No, not that I know of. No, Steve. And the Middle East has been great. Saudi Arabia has treated us really well. They really have.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you're not adding on Khashoggi.
I think Qatar has treated us very well too. They want to get that whole mess ended in the Middle East.
Sorry, Qatar. He just said guitar. Guitar. Hey, look, I've never had a guitar treat me wrong.
You know, we don't even talk about that anymore. You guys haven't asked one question about the Middle East, but the Middle East seems to be doing relatively well.
It does? The Egyptians are amassing troops on the border with Israel to keep Gazans from escaping that way. No.
May I ask about the Middle East, sir?
And it's like the fucking peace, like the ceasefire is currently falling apart. They paused the exchanges. The fucking Hamas, not only to return 2 dead kids that they fucking hand choked to death and bashed their heads against a rock, they threw in a woman who wasn't their mother, then gave the mother the next day. And while they were doing that, they had 2 other male hostages in a fucking truck watching it happen. And they're like, hey, if you play your cards right, you might be able to leave. And they videotape them fucking terrified that like, oh, we're going to see how they're getting to leave. Maybe you'll leave, maybe you won't. They just tortured them essentially with this. The fuck out of here. There's nothing normal about any of this stuff. It's gross.
About the Middle East. For months, even before you were elected in November, you've spoken about your desire to free all of those hostages that have been held by Hamas since October the 7th, a year and a half ago. And just a few weeks ago, you gave an ultimatum. You said if they're not all released by noon on February the 15th, there would be hell to pay. Is Hamas...
No, he said all hell would break out. And the phrase is all hell would break loose. To stop giving him credit for proper colloquialization.
Hamas thumbing their nose at you, Mr. President?
No, I think the opposite. So,
what's the opposite of thumbing their nose at you? They're just sticking their thumb up your ass and going...
You know, they weren't going to release any more hostages. And I said there's going to be hell to pay. And then they agreed that they were going to release the hostages that they had agreed to release, plus an extra one. And so...
An extra one?
That you could say that was a big difference. But I said it from that point, it's up to Bibi, Netanyahu, and Israel. I may have taken a different stance. But they did release, they went back to releasing the hostages. But if you remember, they said we weren't going to release any. They've totally ended it. And I said, well, they're not going to release any. They'll be held to pay.
And that's not what you said at all. You gave them till Saturday to release all of them. And they haven't, and they're not gonna. So, hold on real quick. Let me show you something. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to put that on the screen. Just throwing that in there. Just sorry. The ceasefire. Let's see. Here we go. Yep, everything's great. As clock ticks down on the Gaza ceasefire, Israel prepares for more war. 1 month ago, Israelis and Palestinians felt the rarest of things, optimism after months of stalled talks. There was finally a ceasefire in Gaza. Seemed to be a real path towards the end of the war, but then the situation changed drastically. Since then, the 42-day truce between Israel and Hamas is set to expire this weekend. Unless an agreement is struck to extend it, the two sides were meant to begin talks on a permanent end of the war in early February. 3 weeks later, they still haven't started. Everything's going great. Not to mention that these motherfuckers are parading these dudes out in front of a picture of, like, and making them, like, say, like, apologize for being hostages. Also, again, where did you get the guns? One would think still pretty holding, pretty pretty reasonable armaments there. Palestinians and Gaza on February 6th. That's when everybody was like, finally, an end to this shit. And then, and then Trump's like, I don't know, I love baby Netanyahu. And there's the woman and her kids and the old man, and that wasn't even her in this coffin. Her over here, rather. And the 2 children were just basically bits. Fucking gross. No, it has not gone well.
And but the rest is really up to him.
Oh, yes, Iran does have some internal fighting, too. That's the other thing, too. That's the pop-up. That's what everybody's actually hoping for. Where is it? There you go. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you a quick picture. This is fun. There's Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi meeting in Tehran on February 25th. My goodness. Met today. They're doing very well here. This is the group that Trump wants to negotiate with and his buddy in Iran. Yeah. Iran will not succumb to pressure and sanctions imposed by Washington, the Islamic Republic's top diplomat said on Tuesday after meeting his Russian counterpart days after Moscow held initial talks with the U.S. During his one-day trip to Iran, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov discussed regional and bilateral topics, the media reported. The visit comes a day after they imposed fresh rounds of sanctions targeting Iran's oil industry. Trump earlier this month restored his maximum pressure campaign. And so what happens right after Trump initiates his maximum pressure campaign? Sergei Lavrov comes in to tell him it's going to be okay and offer his hand in whoopee.
I may have done it differently than him. It's not my decision, it's his decision. But they did release all of those hostages. So.
Mr. President,
no, they did not.
you spoke to Vladimir Putin. Did he raise, or did you discuss at all, the possibility of a minerals deal on the Ukrainian land that Russia now controls?
I didn't discuss it, no. I'd like to buy minerals on Russian land, too, if we can. The rare earth. They have very good rare earth also. They both do, I would say.
No, they don't.
That, and oil and gas. Look, it's a great thing if we sell this. It's great for Russia, too, because we can do deals there. They have very valuable land that isn't utilized. So something like...
Really? Yeah, we'll get that really sweet Russian permafrost.
That could take place, yeah.
Makes great snow cones.
Have you put raising or lifting sanctions against Russia on the table as your...
No, we haven't lifted any sanctions on anybody.
On the table as part of any negotiation?
I guess it will be at some point, but right now we haven't agreed to lift sanctions on anybody.
On that gold card, getting back to that, I'm fascinated by this, Mr. President.
You should be fascinated by it. Your taxes will go down to nothing.
Would a Russian oligarch be eligible for a gold card?
Yeah, possibly. Hey, I know some Russian oligarchs that are very nice people. It's possible.
Jesus Christ. And listen to Chuckle Nuts over behind him.
They're not quite as wealthy as they used to be. They're not as wealthy as they used to be. I think they can afford $5 million.
You think they can afford? Sorry. What was that?
Wealthy as they used to be. I think they can afford. I
I agree. I think they can afford.
Can afford $5 million.
So they have
No, a lot of people are going to want
they would be
to.
eligible.
A lot of people are going to want to be in this country, and they'll be able to work and provide jobs and build companies.
Or not.
And pay taxes. All of those.
Or not.
Things. It's an incredible. It's an incredible thing. I mean,
maybe if they can afford $5 million for a gold card, then they can also afford $5 million for a house in Ohio and just fucking retire here and not make any jobs. Are there rules? Listen to me talking like this is a real thing.
This is the group that is the first to hear it. Nobody's heard about it. Nobody.
Yeah, it seems like you're spitballing like a dipshit. Yeah.
Ever thought about it, but we've been thinking about it very, very strongly over the last week.
Yeah, because you know you're about to blow a hole in the budget and you want to raise the debt ceiling $4 trillion and Republicans are not in on it. So you're basically looking to have a fire sale of anything you possibly can, including, visas into the United States to the highest bidder.
And I was going to announce it sometime next week, and I figure why not? We have a lot of cameras blazing right now. We might as well do it now. We'll have Caroline announce it the next time. No, it's a great thing. The gold card. Remember the words, the gold card. Somebody said, can we call it the Trump gold card? I said, if it helps, use the name Trump. I'll give it to you for free.
I like it.
Mr. President, you probably just launched 10,000 stories. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on what Russian oligarchs you know or don't know?
Isn't it interesting how many stories we do tell?
Yes, you bullshit all the time.
And they all turn out to be true, and they all turn out to be ultimately correct. Trump was right about everything. Do you have one of those Trump was right about everything hats? I'm going to give it to this gentleman. Get me one of them.
But they're all going to be vetted. Everybody who comes in gets vetted, okay? They get vetted, so you got to,
Yeah, they get vetted, and they'll be quality people, the kind of people that Donald Trump would hang out with. The kind of person that would, if you think about it, you're like, hey, what kind of a quality human being does Trump hang out with? And they have to at least be of that caliber. The kind of people that Donald Trump, engage with. These are the people that, you're like, if they're this good, they have to be, the kind of human beings like Trump's like, I like this guy's character. I like what he does. I like what he does for a living. I like where he throws his money around. I like all the fun times they have together, especially when Fox News edits Trump out a photo with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. There you go. That's when they're hanging out together. Boy, they were awfully close at these parties. Did you notice that? Did you notice how close they were? 1997, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, there he is. There you go. Look at these buddies. They couldn't be closer. Who would you let into the country, Jeff? Jeffrey's one of those guys that Trump would have given him the gold card to, and they'll have to be of this same high caliber of human to get access to the gold card. Believe me, Epstein and Maxwell could have afforded it.
we're going to begin in 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks. The sale will start in about 2 weeks.
Mr. President, do you see a more active role for Zelensky now, given the status?
I hope so. I mean, look, I think that we want to get that country back on its feet. Right now, it's been destroyed. It's so low. Here, give me this here. Give me all of them. Look.
Yes.
See that? Trump was right about everything. It just came in. Somebody sent it. I said, this was sent in by a fan. I said, I think we should make some of them, right? But we were, pretty much. You want one?
I'll pass.
Are you allowed to take one? Because
not.
he'll consider it. I know him well. He's sort of a stiff.
I said you were
Yeah,
right.
Brian, you're not a stiff. He's sort of a stiff guy. He'll take other things, but not a free hand.
Always say yes to the president. Always say yes to the president.
No. No. Dum-dum. Always say yes to the president. Fuck you. Was he Michael Jackson on his way to court? No.
Anybody like one?
By the way, can I just say that all this bullshit aside and his blather and how gross this is and how he's trying to make a lot of noise to cover for the fact that Elon Musk is robbing the country blind, I'm kind of enjoying RFK Jr. standing there like a fucking tool, not allowed to say anything.
Mr. President, an easy question perhaps for you. Maybe it's difficult. I'm going to ask you.
Hey, look, if he's standing there as a fucking prop in this little gaggle that Trump threw together, he's not out spreading fucking contagious disease and making our food supply, like fighting the good fight for E. coli.
This question about the
Who do you work for?
I work for 2 news organizations.
Who?
I work for 2 news organizations.
Yeah, who are they?
I work for Gray Television, America's second largest broadcaster, and I work for iHeartRadio. So there you go. But let me ask you the easier, tough question, Mr. President. The Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Are they being extended an invitation?
They will be. We haven't yet, but we will be. I thought it was a great performance by them, and absolutely they'll.
You did? The part where they won, you thought that was good? Yeah, that was preferable in a Super Bowl?
They'll be extended that invitation. Would you do that right away, by the way? We'll do it right away. We're going to do it sometime today.
Yeah, because I totally forgot about it. I was so caught up in my stupid fucking hats.
And they deserve to be down here, and we hope to see them. We have a lot of teams. We just had the great hockey team, as you know, Florida come here. We have many of the great athletes come that win things.
What's the main?
That win things? Did they win those things? Did they ever get tired of winning? Sorry, you brought in the Winders?
Come here. We have many of the great athletes come that win things.
Yeah, that's true. They do. I got, hey, can't argue with that. The great athletes that win things. Past tense.
The main obstacle holding up this PGA Tour Live Golf.
Well, they have to get together. They've had a lot of discussion back and forth. They both are meaning well, and a deal will ultimately happen. I think it'll happen pretty quickly. It'll be nice to see the golfers, the best golfers, be able to play against each other.
What's your role been in this whole process?
Just to help expedite it.
Yeah, just expedite it,
Tiger was here. Adam Scott was here. Jay Monahan was here the other day. Just to really help expedite it. We had Yasser here from Saudi Arabia, great guy. These are all great people, and they want to work it out. So if I can help them work it out, I don't get anything out of it. If I can help them work it out. I just think golf.
Okay, asshole. You own major golf courses. Of course you do. And he has a deal with Live.
It's very much of an individual sport, and you want to see the best players playing against each other, not playing in two different locations, right?
What's going to be more challenging, a PGA Live deal or a Russia-Ukraine deal?
I think the PGA deal is much more complicated.
Sir, may I ask you,
Fucking Lutnick is gross. Holy God. I had no idea.
there is a question, if I may.
And what and also, the fuck is he doing with his fucking fingers? Hold on. Yeah, what is that? What the fuck is Lutnick doing with his hand? What is this? Who stands there like this? It's like some sort of Renfield thing. Can anybody and there's one finger over the top as he holds the other two? The fuck kind of like self-soothing bullshit is this?
What's your take on what's happening in the West Bank and what Israel is
Well,
doing
it's
there?
some movement up there that a lot of people are concerned about. And there's been a lot
Great. Generic statement. You could say at any given time. Do you know what happened?
of Israeli movement. They're up there for a reason. All of a sudden, maybe they're not feeling so good about that. So that would be terrible. I hope that doesn't happen. But there is movement up
You hope what doesn't happen?
there that nobody knew about. Right? You know that, right?
Yeah, and when you
No. What are you talking about? No one knows what the fuck you just said. Listen to that again. Hold on.
in the West Bank and what Israel is
Well,
doing
it's
there.
some movement up there that a lot of people are concerned about. And there's been a lot of Israeli movement. They're up there for a reason. All of a sudden, maybe they're not feeling so good about that. So that would be terrible. I hope that doesn't happen. But there is movement up there that nobody knew about. Right? You know that, right?
Yeah, and when
No one knows what the fuck you're talking about.
are you concerned about it as well?
I'm concerned about everything.
Yeah, whatever it is, I'm concerned about it, yeah.
I want the world to be peaceful. You know, when I left here, we had no war.
No, we didn't. We were still in Afghanistan, fuckwad.
We had
There was fighting in Syria, in North Africa.
defeated ISIS and
By the way, can I just say something? Fuck this. I mean, he always says this stupid shit. The Houthis just fired at a fucking American airplane. Yeah, this just fucking happened 3 days ago. Houthis target U.S. fighter jet drone with SAM missiles for the first time. Houthi rebels for the first time fired surface-to-air missiles at a U.S. F-16 fighter on February 19th. Three senior U.S. defense officials tell Fox News. The jet was flying over the coast of Yemen, over the Red Sea. When the SAM was fired, the missile did not strike the jet. Houthis fired another SAM at an American MQ-9 Reaper drone that the U.S. was flying over Yemen outside Houthi-controlled areas on February 19th. This is the first time the Houthis have fired a SAM missile at an American F-16 fighter jet. Did you hear anything from fucking Trump about this? What the fuck are you talking about? Respect it again. We're so respected in the world right now that they decided to fire on one of an American jet and an American drone in the same fucking week. Yeah. Also, the Houthis, for those of you who don't know, would love Elon Musk and Steve Bannon's salute. They do it all the fucking time. Oh, they're big fans. Yeah. They're big death to all Jews crowd. Yeah, they hold on. I'll show you this. This is for Hassan and Jimmy Dore. There you go. Let me pop this in here. This is the. Hold on. So this is the Houthis. Just so you know who you're dealing with here. Houthi supporters hold Nazi salute, chant anti-American, anti-Semitic slogans in this video. Yeah, they're not. I mean, the irony that these guys could probably speak at CPAC right now. How would you consider Mary Trump as your VP? No, I've already got my VP picked. I'll announce when we get closer to the date. Yeah, so see all this? Yeah, these guys just fired a missile at a U.S. airplane. And have you heard a fucking peep out of this dipshit? Mr. Bluster, there'll be all hell to pay if the hostages don't come back. And obviously all the hostages didn't come back, and there hasn't been. Anybody? Anything?
Less than 4 weeks. In fact, I took the general that defeated ISIS and I put him in charge of the whole ball game, because that's what we want. We want winners. Raisin Cane, you know, Raisin. When I heard that name, I said, I like that name. That's the kind of general I like. So we'll see. But he was great.
You mean the guy who's like, I don't give a fuck if civilians are killed?
He's a great soldier. Not a politician, a soldier, a real soldier. You know that, Brian. This guy was the real. This guy's the real
story a million times.
Yeah, this guy's the real.
Oh yeah, we say it. Yeah, he was at all the rallies. It was a great story. It's not stupid at all.
Deal. He is. And I think he's going to do a great job. But think of it. We had no wars. We had no problems. We had no inflation. Mm-hmm. We had no problems. And then all of a sudden you have October.
If you don't count COVID and George Floyd and the riots, you had no problems? You had no problems. No problems. By the way, we entered a recession in the beginning of 2020, but most people didn't notice because the economy fully crashed. No problems.
7th in Israel, which was horrible. And then you
hold on. Did he actually?
7th in Israel. Think of it. We had no wars. We had no.
Again, we were still in Afghanistan.
Problems. We had no inflation. We had no problems. And then all of a sudden you have October 7th in Israel, which was horrible. And then you see.
Yeah, it wasn't all of a sudden. It was directly related to you moving the embassy, declaring Jerusalem the capital, and recognizing the Golan Heights. This is what triggered this particular thing.
What happened with Ukraine would have never, Russia would have never gone in.
They were already in.
If the election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. The 2020 election was rigged, and we got out of it, and you see what happened. You see what happened to our country. Inflation, Afghanistan, that horrible withdrawal from.
Oh, you mean where we're out of Afghanistan now?
Afghanistan. I think when Russia saw what happened in Afghanistan, they said, wow.
Yeah, this would be a, wow, I just had a great idea. Wow, let's attack Ukraine right now because America is no longer wasting all their arms in Afghanistan. They've gotten out. It's kind of ugly, but now their artillery is all freed up for them to loan to Ukraine now. Stuff that was being used in Afghanistan is no longer spoken for, and all that gear can be given to Ukraine, which it was. This is the perfect time to attack. And 800,000 Russian lives later, how'd that work out?
It's a paper tiger. We're not a paper tiger. We are the strongest military force in the world. And by the way, Pete Hegseth is doing a great job. But we didn't have wars.
He's not doing a job at all. He's walking around giving speeches to everybody.
We didn't have inflation.
We had a war. We were in Afghanistan still the entirety of your presidency, even though you ran on it.
We had a strong border.
No, we didn't. COVID made everybody stay home.
We had everything going good. And
yeah, if you consider, 1 million American deaths.
Then Biden got in and he's my opinion, the worst president in the history of our country. I think Jimmy Carter was a very happy man when he passed away 2 weeks ago.
What are you expecting at the cabinet meeting tomorrow?
It's going to be a cabinet meeting, and I'll preside. Unlike Biden, I'll preside over my own cabinet meeting.
Mr. President, how would you compare your cabinet in your second term to your cabinet that you had in your first term?
Well, I had
Well, I'm surrounded by
some
assholes.
great people my second term. I think this is deeper. I think it's better because it's deeper. I had some people that I didn't really like too
It's deeper.
much in my cabinet, but I didn't know Washington then. I was a New York person. I knew New York intimately, but I had to rely on people. I had great people.
Intimately? Oh, right. Yeah, you were less than a 8-minute cab ride from Jeffrey Epstein's house, and you hang out there all the time.
Look, we got
That kind of intimacy.
the biggest tax cuts in history. I rebuilt the military. I mean, we did so much. We did unbelievable. Even right to try. Somebody was saying today they were saved by right to try. We did right to
Yeah, they just call you.
try medically. We did
Yeah, the ones that die from the experimental procedures, they don't tend to make phone calls.
transparency medically. That was a big thing, but Biden canceled that one. He didn't cancel right to try, which is interesting. He didn't cancel Space Force. He was going to cancel Space Force.
No, he wasn't. It was part of the Air Force. They just renamed it. All you did was rename it.
Space Force is turning out to be invaluable. Amazing. We created Space Force.
Yeah, what do they do? Invaluable, you say? If it's invaluable, then I guess the funding is perfectly, solid. Like you're not going to you're not going to cut the funding on Space Force if it's invaluable. It's saying a lot. It's impressive.
But think of it. We rebuilt our entire military, and now we're going to have to patch it up a little bit again because of what's happened. No, this was a grossly incompetent administration. The only thing they were good at was cheating in elections and the weaponization of government. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
It's a bedtime to take.
And that's the end of that. Do they rerun it again? Is that what happens? Or is this other angles of it? Is when Lutnick's reading him shit?
Digital services tax, would that be all right?
Go ahead, do that.
So I read.
You can almost smell it when you walk in, I hear. They've only got the seat mic on. And scene. Really good shot, by the way. Great audio, Fox News.
Did it immediately.
What the fuck?
In most of the world's countries, and the market cap of even one of our companies exceeds every European country. Instead of empowering their workers and creating opportunities, foreign governments have instead tried to tax, fine, and hinder Americans' technology companies. Both friend and foe have.
So this, by the way, this is what most of his days are made up of right now. He just signs a bunch of shit they put in front of him. These are just pages out of Project 2025. And he's like, scribbles his name on it, blathers some shit from the campaign, and then they hand him another one. Yeah, here you go. Does he mention him? Does he get to say anything? Hold on. There's,
It's actually something I did discuss, but a form of peacekeeping that's acceptable to everybody. Ultimately, we'll be able to agree on something.
With Ukraine.
Right, Ukraine, I will say they're very brave and they're good soldiers.
Okay,
but
so this is just another angle of what we saw. So did RFK just fucking stand there with his thumb up his ass the whole time? It didn't even seem like they introed him. Even when people were coming in. Was he just in the meeting and they just interrupted it with some shit?
And that's because of tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and they feel very strongly about the country now. They wouldn't have done it without for the confidence.
I'm so lonely. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm lonely and nobody likes me. I'm staring at his bald spot, pretending not to notice that his brain is rotting right before my eyes. Oh, I'm lonely. I'm so lonely. That's it. He just fucking stands there. That's amazing. Does he get to say, like... Yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing. We didn't see him, like... Is there other footage? And then when they came in? No, just standing there with his thumb up his ass. That was it. And if he did say anything, Fox Business didn't want you to know it. Jesus Christ. Now, we spent so much time on that, I got barely any time left. Okay, let's take a little bit of this in, because this is some good stuff. And I know I won't be able to cover most of this, but man, was this fun. So there's something I refer to often as the Macron handshake. And I want people to become familiar with this as a concept. The Macron handshake is a political maneuver where you pretend to be the best buddy of this fucking asshole you're standing next to and go, yeah, buddy, I'm with you 100%. I mean, what you said about that thing was obviously garbage, but you know that. We've talked about that. This is fantastic. We're so close. This is, I mean, what a great guy. And he and I were talking before that, you know, he agrees with me that we're going to do this thing. And that thing he said, it's not exactly what happened. But I love this dude. I fucking love this dude, right? That's the Macron handshake. Works like a fucking charm. Trump has no response to it. He's completely disarmed. So all the Democrats that are like, yeah, way to go, Trump. I think you're doing something great here, whatever. Yeah, I voted for your person. This is totally good. In the middle of all this, when they know they're not going to vote for the budget or any of the important shit, but they vote for Pam Bondi or something because a woman's going to be running the Department of Justice, and they're like, okay, whatever. And we can't stop her, so I'm not going to piss in the corners of everything. Yeah, great choice, buddy. You're doing excellent. Let's say, let him fuck up, right? I call that the Macron handshake. That's what this is. That Macron knows how to manipulate Trump, and everybody should take a fucking page. Did Hal see Harriet Hagman from? Well, yes, I did. As a matter of fact, we're going to have to do that video tomorrow, I think, because that requires some time.
And President Macron was a very special man in my book. We were together. We did it together.
Do you really want to walk into the beginning of this like that? What did you do together? Because I'm just saying.
I love that feeling. Superhoods have got the goods.
I mean, just live it, man. Don't be afraid. Let your freak flag fly. Be yourself. Your ratings would probably go up.
And I think a lot of progress has been made. We've had some very good talks with Russia. We've had some very good talks with others, and we're trying to get the war ended with Russia.
Others? Russia and others?
And Ukraine, and I think we've...
I see. Russia, Ukraine, and others.
Come a long way in a short period of weeks. And the president...
A short period of weeks. I have to apologize to Macron. This is not normal English, so you're not going. Maybe it's a colloquialism. Maybe it's something I don't understand. No, it's just gibberish.
And it's been very helpful, also. And we're also talking about trade, various trade deals that we will be doing with France, and we'll be discussing a little bit further. Then we'll have a press conference later on. You can ask some questions. We'll be having a press conference in a little while. We're going to have lunch. And
then a press conference. You're gonna have lunch. Are you hungry right now? Do you need a snack? Is your blood sugar tanking?
Entire French staff, and we look forward to it. And Again, the relationship's
And we're going to have French food. We're going to have French fries. That's all I got.
been very special with France and very special with this gentleman on my right.
You don't say. Okay, good for you. I think it's lovely. I think it's lovely. Maybe you finally found a friend. Whenever I call you friend, I begin to think you understand.
And we look forward to keeping that going for a long period of time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. I want to thank Mr. President for his hospitality. We had a good discussion this morning for the G7 here.
Yeah.
And for the third year of this war in Ukraine, and I think our common objective clearly is to build peace and a solid and long-standing peace. And this is what we will discuss, obviously, because I have great respect for the bravery and the resistance of Ukrainian people, and we do share the objective.
Watch Trump while he's just kind of like mopey, like everybody likes him. He's so much younger and handsome. I don't like this. I'm alone. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say.
Of peace, but we are very aware of the necessity to have guarantees and solid peace in order to stabilize the situation. I'm here as a friend because through centuries we've been friends, and we are personal friends, as you mentioned it, because we work very well together. And I think the U.S. and France always stands on the same side, the right side, I would say, of history. Mm-hmm. And this is exactly what's at stake today. And this is a very important moment for Europe as well. And I'm here as well after discussions with all my colleagues to say that Europe is willing to step up, to be a stronger partner, to do more in defense and security for this continent, and as well to be a reliable partner and to be engaged on trade, economy, investment in a lot of topics. So I'm very excited by the discussion we will have, and obviously we will follow up. And I want to thank you again, Mr. President, for your presence for Notre-Dame de Paris. It meant a lot for French people, and I want to thank you for that.
That's the cathedral, and they've done
Oh, is that what that was? None of us knew. So it's the cathedral, was it?
a fantastic job. The president
They did a fantastic job.
has done a great job in bringing it back. That was a terrible thing, like, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Watching that burn was a very horrible sight. And
Well, yeah, but God hates you, and so obviously holy houses were catching fire.
you've done a fantastic job in bringing it back, so I congratulate you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you,
Thank you
President.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Anybody want to ask a question or two, or is that a foolish question?
Dead inside, Marco Rubio. If you thought someone felt useless more useless than RFK Jr., there he is, ladies and gentlemen.
It looks like we're getting very close. The deal's being worked on, and we're, I think, getting very close to getting an agreement where we get our money back over a period of time. But it also gives us something where I think it's very beneficial to their economy, to them as a country. But, we're in for $350 billion. How we got there, I don't know.
We know exactly. We spent all that money in the heartland of America.
But that's a lot of money, a lot of money invested, and we had nothing to show for it.
They've not been taken over by Russia. They have fought them to a stalemate. They have taken Russian territory. We have a lot to show for it.
And it was the Biden administration's fault.
No, it was Russia's fault. Fuck you.
Europeans are in for about $100 billion, and they do it in the form of a loan. And the Europeans have been great on this issue. They understood it wasn't fair, and we were able to work something out. But with the Ukrainians, I think I can say that we're very close. Scott's around here someplace, and I think we can say that we're very hi, Scott. I think
that's Besson.
We're very close. Do you have something to say about that, Scott?
We are very close. The
Good.
1 yard line.
All right.
Mr. President, should anything on security guarantees on Ukraine?
What?
Would a minerals deal include a security guarantee for Ukraine?
Well, it'll be, Europe is going to make sure that nothing happens. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. I think once we settle, there's going to be no more war in Ukraine, and you're not going to have it. It's not going to be a very big problem. That's going to be the least of it.
That's going to be the least of it. This is gibberish.
The Greek media reporting that the U.S. has agreed to shut down a military base in Greece that's been a logistical hub for
That who shut down?
that the U.S. has agreed to shut it down at the request of Turkey and Russia. Is that all true?
Marco, do you have anything to say about it? Greece?
That's a no, sir.
Mr. President.
Is it a no?
It's a no, sir.
It's not a correct story.
Mr. President, how do you react to people in Europe who say that you are abandoning Ukraine and that you are going to sacrifice the security of Ukraine by making a deal with Vladimir Putin?
You know, we're helping Ukraine like nobody's ever helped Ukraine before.
No, Biden helped Ukraine like nobody's helped Ukraine before. You are undercutting that help,
And I can
dummy.
say this, if I didn't become president, Ukraine would right now still be at a level where there would be no even thinking about a peace.
Yeah, they would not even be thinking about the peace. Like I'm no thinking about peace. I'm no. They would not even be thinking.
And it was...
yeah, that's what he said.
And I can say this, if I didn't become president, Ukraine would right now still be at a level where there would be no even thinking about a peace.
No, they would not even be thinking about a peace.
And it was...
I think he's trying to, like, steal some of Macron's valor sexually.
It's a sad thing that this
isn't it?
Happened. This would have never happened, this war, if I were president. Zero chance. And it has happened. So...
right. If it wouldn't, if it wouldn't have happened because when you were president, then why can't you just call fucking Putin and tell him to get the fuck out? Why isn't he leaving now that you are? I mean, that's a pretty that would be the simple question. If this wouldn't have started when you were president, then why is it still going on? Wouldn't the very thing that they would be afraid of with you as president that stopped this from happening, why aren't they moving back to that? Because obviously, Ukraine's not interested in being in NATO. They just need security guarantees. Where they're basically going to become de facto NATO members because you have European troops and American businesses on the ground there.
My function is to get you out of the war, get them out of the war, let them live. It's a bloody war. It's a horrible war. Thousands of people are being killed a week.
By the way, you notice he doesn't give a fuck about like the war raging in Congo or Sudan. That's not keeping him up at night. It's the Russians that are dying because, you know, he owes Trump owes Putin a favor somehow.
And I would say Russia, maybe 700,000 people. I think Ukraine, probably a similar number. And that's not talking about the towns and the cities that have been blown up. That's talking about soldiers. This has been a horrible, bloody mess. And we're going to get...
And Russia invaded, and they could just end it by getting the fuck out. 91 borders, piss off. Why not?
Get it solved. We got to get it solved. And you know...
when I said that I would get it done in 24 hours of being elected, that was bullshit.
We're not talking about America's soldiers. Soldiers from this country. We're talking about Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, we know.
But on a humanitarian basis, we have to get this very, very bloody, savage problem solved. And I will say this also. It could lead to World War III if it's not solved. You know, there'll be a...
Jesus Christ. Weren't we already in World War III, if you think about it, last year, like 15 fucking times?
Point at which it's not going to stop at those two countries. Already there's such involvement from other countries. And
sorry, no. Let's just say it ends tomorrow, like, or it continues fighting. You think it's going to turn into World War III because Ukraine's going to invade somebody else? You think Ukraine's going to invade fucking Finland or Georgia? You think this has anything to do with anybody in Ukraine invading any other country ever? If there's a World War III that comes from this, it will be because Russia refuses to stop attacking other fucking countries. That's it. That's it. Ukraine is not going to invade and take the Kremlin and create World War III. Or, well, here's the thing. They very well might. Let's just say they decide Kursk is working. Why not go for Moscow? That'll shock the shit out of them. Let's just say that happens. It's not, we're not going to have World War III in that situation. That's still going to be the Ukraine-Russian war. And the rest of the world won't have to do anything. We just watch.
It could really lead.
What's Russia going to do if the Ukrainians invade Moscow? Bomb Paris? And even then, will that be the moment you wake up to the fact that the Ukrainians are the fucking good guys in this situation and Russia would bomb other countries like randomly if they just don't like the way the war that they started is going?
To a very big war, World War III, and we're not going to let that happen either.
Would you support the idea to send European troops in Ukraine to back the ceasefire?
European troops may go into Ukraine as peacemakers. So when the agreement is...
Really? They're going to walk around with flowers and hand them out? You mean peacekeepers? They're not going to make the peace. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what the politicians are supposed to do.
Is done, they can watch that everything's followed properly. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And a lot of the European countries, I think, I don't want to speak for France, but I know that the presidents talked about doing that also. I think that'll be a very good...
The presidents of who?
...day when we can go in as peacekeepers as opposed to what's going on right now with everybody being killed. So,
what's stopping you right the fuck now? Send in peacekeepers. That'll grind the fucking Russian fighting to a halt. How about that? I mean, you only have to look the other way when Russians kill one of our own. I mean, you look the other way when the Houthis fired on one of our jets. You haven't even brought it up.
U.S. backing, those troops going into Ukraine, will they have U.S. backing from U.S. troops?
well, we're going to have a backing of some kind, and obviously the European...
Of some kind. Well, that's good. I'm glad that's on the list.
countries are going to be involved. And I don't think you're going to need much backing. I think that's not going to be a problem. Once an agreement is signed, Russia's going to get back to its business, and Ukraine and Europe...
Its business is murder. This is its fucking business. The Europeans are not going to take oil and gas from Russia anymore. They don't need to. All those sources have been replaced. They don't need it. And there's no justification for it. Like, if they do, they're going to insist on, as part of this, that the money from it goes to rebuild Ukraine, not to, like, fill Russian coffers. So what else do they make? What Russian device is the world clamoring for? Russian cars, Russian phones, Russian fucking washing machines? What business? It's a mob state, you dumb motherfucker. They're in the gun trade. That's it. Their only other business is subverting democracy everywhere else. Ours and every other one in fucking Europe and anywhere they can get their fucking grubby hands into. That's the business. I don't want them to get back to this business. Nobody does.
We're going to get back to their business. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
That's because you're stupid. Because you don't even know what their fucking business is. You are their business. They've made you their business. And he knows it. Look at Macron. This asshole does not even know how far Putin's got his hand up Trump's ass.
What? I will be meeting with President Zelensky. In fact, he may come in this week or next week to sign the agreement, and which would be nice. I'd love to meet him. Would meet at the Oval Office. So the agreement's being worked on now. They're very close to a final deal. It'll be a deal with rare earths and various other things, and he would like to come, as I understand it, here to sign it, and that would be great with me. I think.
Yeah, you just heard it from her.
They then have to get it approved by their council or whoever might.
Hold on. According to Mother Jones, Ukraine does have some rare earths, but no one knows exactly how much or even where they are. Ukraine's claims about its mineral riches are based on Soviet-era exploration decades ago. Yeah, Bob, we don't need their rare earths, is my point. Because they're not rare. They're not fucking rare. They're sparse. They're everywhere. They're just in the ground and it takes a lot of sifting. Other countries that don't give a shit about their environment tend to go after what we term rare earth minerals because they don't care what the damage that they do.
To prove it, but I'm sure that will happen. At some point, I'll be meeting with President Putin also, yes. I don't know when we speak. We're trying to get this thing worked out. But yeah, at some point, I'll be meeting with President Putin, too.
Monsieur Macron, s'il vous plaît, est-ce que vous pouvez dire quelques mots en français? I can say a few words in French. No.
En français, oui, de rien. Hold on, real quick. Let's see. Meanwhile, also, if I may, the tariffs on Canada and Mexico are not going to happen. He's going to call them off. Or it'll be 5 or 10%, and we'll ratchet them up later if they don't behave. Like, he's going to walk all that shit back. If he does, it's going to fuck up all of his favorite states. Montana, New Mexico, nearly all of their import-export exposure is to a single targeted country. That would be Canada. Like Canada for Montana and Mexico for New Mexico. Energy, such as oil for Montana, Oklahoma, electronics for New Mexico, and auto parts such as EV batteries for Texas and California, where Tesla has a big presence, looms large in the trade battle, but the impact of local economies and consumer prices range widely. According to President Trump, sweeping U.S. tariffs on Canada and Mexico are coming. Set to begin next week, and they will go forward when a month-long delay expires, he said Monday, and they will begin on time, on schedule. If the administration follows through, the impact on economies across the U.S. will be extensive, and so they're repeating that part of it. Yeah. Then, consider Montana, which tops the list of states importing from China, Canada, and Mexico, with 94% of the state's local imports coming from those three nations. So Montana gets 94% of its total imports coming from China, Canada, and Mexico. We're the United States of America, but we're also 50-plus individual economies, and like snowflakes, none are exactly alike. That's certainly true when it comes to trade, said Matt Schulz, chief credit analyst for LendingTree. Based on U.S. Census data to determine where consumers are most vulnerable to tariffs, they ran an analysis on this. The report shows wide disparities between states, with some, such as Montana, doing a vast majority of their trade with Canada, China, and Mexico, while other states do little. Let's see, the biggest states and biggest state losers from the upcoming tariffs. What a surprise! What I tell you about shutting down the border and all that kind of shit. Mexico, or with Mexico, Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico, and then Louisiana. Yeah, good stuff. States least exposure were Hawaii, and enforcement followed by New Jersey and Maryland. Whereas there's Mexico, Canada, and China are the top trading partners for let's see, from pickled jalapenos to laparoscopic surgery equipment from New Mexico, and coffee beans to industrial equipment for Vermont. Mexico, Canada, and China are top trading partners, so U.S. imports from them aren't confined to a handful of major categories. Goods sourced from these countries can be found on any store shelf used in any imaginable industry. We're talking oil, electronics, auto goods, which dominate U.S. imports by sheer dollar value. The biggest states hit with it, the top 10 states with the biggest share of imports coming from Mexico are New Mexico, shocker, Michigan, Texas, Arizona, Utah, Alabama, Iowa, Louisiana, Missouri, and Connecticut. I think Connecticut and maybe New Mexico, only ones that went Democratic. 10 states with the biggest percentage of imports from China: California, New Mexico, Nevada, Illinois, Tennessee, D.C., Washington, D.C., wow, that's a lot. Washington, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Missouri. Also, I mean, if you're not counting like stuff pinged through Arkansas, which is where like Walmart gets most of its shit. And yes, I realize, hold on. A lot of us are worried about Wyoming. I need to wax my upper lip. I'm Harriet Hagman from the wonderful state of Wyoming. So, the truth is, there's a risk for any state in having too much of its trade involved in a single product or single partner. That's true. Taking a deeper dive into the 6-digit custom code numbers. Let's see. Each of these major categories represent a huge slice of the state's GDP beyond the invisible import. For example, Michigan's auto parts imports support an automotive and mobility industry that contributes over $300 billion to the state's economy yearly. The amount of oil imported from Canada is staggering. According to Trump, we don't need their oil. While this is something we know and is not breaking news, to see the state-by-state breakdown is really something. For example, the value of the oil Montana imports from Canada, $4.9 billion, is more than 10 times the value of the state's next biggest import. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains, in the heart of a key U.S. drilling region, imports an enormous amount of oil from Canada, especially given how much oil the state and its neighbors in Texas produce. Beer imports and are another big item. Customs, anybody who's seen Strange Brew knows this. Custom data shows that Illinois imports way more beer from these three countries than any other state, according to Lending Tree's analysis. $5.2 billion in beer from Mexico. The next highest on that list was Texas at $239 million. Also, there's a lot of bottling plants in Illinois, so it goes through there and goes to other places. Tesla has a strong presence in 2 states importing the most lithium-ion batteries from China, California and Texas. Since 2023, Tesla has bought over 12,000 20-foot equivalent containers of the batteries between the 2 states. That's at least 100 million lithium batteries for Texas and California alone. A single Cybertruck has more than 1,300 lithium-ion battery cell components. Yep, there you go. States with the most exposure to tariffs from Canada, Mexico, and China. Michigan, Maine, and these guys are obviously because they're close. Montana, North and South Dakota. Yeah, let's see. Look at the top 10 states that export to Canada, North Dakota. Okay, these are the, this is the retaliatory stuff. So this is stuff that goes out. Top 10 states exporting to Mexico. New Mexico, Texas, Arizona, Oregon, Michigan, Missouri, South Dakota, Kansas, California, Nebraska. Top states that export to China: Alaska, Washington, Oregon, North Carolina, Louisiana, Alabama, South Carolina, California, Massachusetts, and West Virginia. Good stuff. Yeah, these are like next week. These are all the ones that are allegedly going to hit a fucking wall. And I think it was Carville who said, you guys need to sit back and see which way this gopher's going to run into the wall. Check out which side this raccoon's nuts are on. Hang out and watch as this hits the fucking wall. This is the index, S&P. That's not good. There's a composite index. The Dow Jones is up 0.3%, but down almost 1,000. What's this 5-day? Boink. Yeah, look at this. Summary. Let's look at this. Let's click it. Open this up. Yeah. This is what is this? Sentiment is bullish, still bullish, very bullish up until a certain point. We shall see. This week they are very bullish on the Dow Jones. The sector average that is bearish. Net zero economy grows 10% a year. Okay, and they're going to kill net zero. That's great, brilliant. And this would be it. Let's see what this is. 5-day. Yeah, the month isn't looking good either. Whoops. There you go. It's all in the red and again, largely this is the futures that this dickhead's trade stuff is going to kick in, and they know it. And there's a brilliance to people who are saying Democrats have a responsibility to protect the people in their state on a state level, but let this motherfucker catch all the blame. Don't step in between him and the rake. That's key. All right, I'm going to let you guys go because I'm over time. Holy shit. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the morning show. I believe the Major is going to be on with us tomorrow. He has officially announced that he's running for office, and we're going to do everything we can to help him out across the board. Yep. Yeah, and Philip Ittner will be joining us from Ukraine, and we'll certainly be talking about the ongoing mineral deal and Trump basically being a dough-headed old fart. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks to everybody on Substack for joining me both on Cliff's stream and on my own. Subscribe, share the show wherever you view it, and I appreciate your guys' support more than you can ever possibly know. Al just wanted to say, it's my 2 years ago today, and your show has helped me get back to life. Really appreciate all you do. Much love to all you. Oh, Michael, thank you so much. I'm glad to be of service. It's an honor. There's no real way to reply to that in this format, with the depth and the sense of reality it deserves. So much love. And I'm glad I can be here for you guys to get you through some of this dipshittery. Not the chat, obviously, but that other stuff. And I'll keep doing it. I ain't scared. They're going to try and scare me. It's not working. Tomorrow, after my second show, I will be driving to LA, and I'll be there Thursday, Friday, because Thursday night I'm doing a show at the Comedy Chateau with Brian Karam and with our dear friend Tom Arnold, and we will be getting some laughs and filming it kind of like a podcast, I think, and it's going to be part of his 100 Days documentary that he's doing. And then on Friday I have a flapper show, so Patreon folks will get that for free, because I don't hide any of the work that I do here behind a paywall, but I figure that's worth an extra gift. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to do it for members on YouTube as well. Wish me luck. It's hard to cross the streams. But that said, I adore you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And it's nice to feel like you're doing something worthwhile. Oh, and see, I get all caught up, and then I forget to play the music, and then what happens? Hit that like, everybody. Unless you're a maggot, in which case, please give me a thumbs down or an angry emoji wherever you're watching. Show them how infuriatingly engaging I am. All right. Thanks to Instagram and Substack, guys. See you tomorrow.